Hey there, thanks for joining me for practice today. I'll be sharing a really simple movement and yoga process that is wonderful for restoring flow and movement to the waters of the body and the energy field. So, what often happens in our lives is that we go through these phases of being really stuck and immobilized, where everything kind of freezes and shuts down, to being really, really mobile, kind of hyper vigilant, over the top, anxious, lots of movement going through the entire body. And part of what this movement process is going to help you with is find the middle ground where you're neither stuck or frozen, nor are you on this other end where things are moving just so fast. It's finding a central point of balanced flow in the body, which is one of the top signs of health. And restoring this flow is so vitally important and also can happen in such simple ways. In Ayurveda, we talk about how the more complicated the diagnosis, whether that be mental or physical, the more simple the medicine. And so, this is one of those practices that's a really simple medicine. It's enormously profound and so beneficial for the nervous system, for the body, for the valve system of the body. So, all of those pump processes of your digestion and lymphatics that keep fluids flowing and moving internally, as well as the energy body, which we really want to keep flowing and um, help reduce stagnant foreign energy that can attach to our field and to our body and our being so that we can feel lighter and more like fearful self-expression. So to do this process, I recommend having your feet a little bit wider than your hips, especially if you've been feeling ungrounded lately. If you're wanting more energy, if you've been feeling pretty grounded, maybe more on the heavy side of things, you can bring the feet in a little bit closer together. So just gauge that based on where you've been at lately. I'm going to bring my feet out a little bit wider because I, for one, can always use more grounded rootedness. And what this is doing is just giving you more of a stance like a mountain, more of a rootedness, a strength in the body. And bringing the feet closer together is a bit more light. It's a bit more lifted upwards. So again, just choosing what feels best and what you need. Wider feet's also going to be easier for balance. So if you're someone who has a hard time balancing, bring your feet out a little bit wider than the hips. And we'll bring the hands onto the hips and find your ASIS bones, which are the two headlights of your hips. I'm just going to locate these and we'll give them a little tap or a little massage, just waking the hips up. You can take some breaths while you do this. And then go to the sides of the hips. And on the sides, I like to make little fists. Again, we're just waking up the hips. And again, taking some breaths as you stay on the sides. Really feeling that you can tap on the bones more than the muscles here. And not in a really hard way, but just to wake up some of the sensory nerve endings there. And then we'll do the back of the hips. So near your sacrum, which is that flat triangular bone. Just tapping there. Couple breaths. And then we'll let that go. And your hands can rest somewhere they're comfortable. What I want to invite you to is, instead of letting the hands kind of rest away from the body, let them find some sort of contained place to rest. So either the sides of the thighs, the belly, the heart. If you're again wanting more energy, you can even place them on the head, wherever feels best for you. And just taking a moment to notice where your weight is on your feet. Is it toward the balls of the feet, toward the heels? You might even just shift the weight back and forth a couple of times until you find more of a center point beneath your feet. And notice if the heels turn in and the toes turn out at all, and see if your feet can become a little bit more parallel to one another, just for this exploration today. And the rest of the body is going to just be really, really soft, like still upright, but with as little effort as possible. A little bend in your knees, finding the weight right in the center of the feet. Bring the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And soften the eyes. You can even close them if that feels good for you. The spine's going to stay nice and tall this whole movement. So this isn't really a spinal movement. This is more of a movement that's going to originate from the soles of the feet. And just a shift of the weight toward the heels, and then over to the left foot, the toes, and over to the right foot. And eventually, as we just shift between these 4 points of weight, back, left, front, right, it'll start to smooth out and become just a circle. So it's less from point A to B to C to D, and then it just becomes this ongoing circling process. Again, the spine is tall, and it's not this movement with the hips, it's not this movement with the shoulders. It's very simple, just a shifting of the weight. And again, letting the eyes close if that's comfy for you, and notice your inherent speed here, the speed that the body naturally is going in. Your body might be called to go more quickly, it might be called to go more slowly. You also might notice that there are certain points in this movement that feel a little shaky, or that you speed up during, or that the hips or the spine want to respond to more. And we're just going to do our best to keep it really easefully flowing. No need to place any effort on breath or breathing. Just ease with the breath. And see if you can slow this movement down by like 20% or so. Just a tad bit slower. It might feel a little bit shakier. And also during this movement practice, it's not unusual for feelings of anxiety or past memories, past emotions to start coming up to the surface. Just the more and more we bring our body into flow and into the present moment, the more past residue starts to come up to be digested. So there's nothing you really need to do with any of that material other than just allow it and stay with the movement. And then slowly come back through center, remembering the direction that you just went in, because in a moment we're going to go the opposite way. But just taking a moment, maybe let your eyes open, maybe take a breath. You can turn your head left and right, look around the space, just notice how it feels to be in your body in this moment. And then back through center, equal weight in your feet, check in with your toes, pointing them forward, and let your eyes close. And we'll shift the weight back toward the heels, over to the right, to the toes, and to the left. And it doesn't have to be a big shift, it can be small. Again, we move from point A to B to C to D until it just naturally starts to smooth itself out. Connecting your hands to the body, just notice if they've softened away from that connection at all, and see if they can stay in contact. The spine nice and long. And if your eyes do want to be open, that's okay. Just see if you can cast them down toward the floor rather than directly ahead or at your computer screen. Breath can be natural. Whatever wants to happen with the breath is allowed in this. Slow down to about 20% of your speed, maybe even a little slower. Notice any shaking, any moments in the movement that you want to go quicker during, and see if, especially in those portions of this movement, you can go even a little bit slower. Nice natural breath, no effort with the breath. And bring the body back to center. Let yourself just pause in stillness. There might be a deepening of the breath, a sigh that wants to happen. The hands may want to start to move or rub and stroke the body. When you're ready, if the eyes are closed, just kind of starting to blink them open, looking without the head, just with the eyes from left to right, nice and slowly. And then let the head kind of turn with the eyes, looking left, looking right, all the way back behind you, maybe up toward the sky or the ceiling, down toward the floor as well. And then just invite you to take a little walk around your space. It's really beautiful to actually go on a short walk after this practice out in your neighborhood or in nature, and just notice how it feels to move through space here and now. And we'll close with just a little gratitude, acknowledgement, a bow. Thanks for practicing with me. Remember, you can come back to this. And the more that you do, the more that those neural circuits of flow are going to start to root themselves into your being. So if you found this powerful, come back to it again, again, and again. Right. Thank you.